This is the third part of videos dealing with the network benefits of a health insurance contract. And in this video, we're going to deal with kind of a financial example of how the network benefits would work. In the previous videos, we talked about provider contracting and health plan design. And so what we're going to do is sort of compare how benefits would be paid under a heart surgery for an aortic valve replacement. It's not necessarily important that the procedure we're talking about here. It's just we're using this as an example, and we're going to talk about how the health plan might pay the benefits if you were in network and if you were out of network. So to jump right in, from the example before, we said that, and we made up this example, so the numbers are sort of fictional here, but the relationship is not. We said that the physician charges retail for this service $45,000. So you went and had a heart surgery done, and the physician's normal charge is $45,000. But because that physician is in network, they're only allowed to charge what's called an allowable amount. So if you get your explanation of benefits from the insurance company after you get your medical procedure done, there's usually that amount called the allowable amount. That's referred to as the insurance negotiated price. And so in the example we used before, we said that amount was $32,000. So what the insurance company said is we know that, speaking to the doctor, we know that you normally charge $45,000 for this procedure, but we've negotiated with you that you're going to accept $32,000 as full payment. And so that means that there's a discount off of the provider's normal charge of $13,000. Which leaves a total or a balance of $0. And what we're saying is this: the insurance company or the physician normally charges $45,000. The insurance company has said that we only allow $32,000, which means that there's a discount of $13,000 that's applied to the normal price of the procedure, and the balance, if you remember from the first video, we talked about the provider having this retail charge, and then the difference, the balance here being that $13,000, the difference between the retail charge and the negotiated price. We've said that if the provider's in network, the provider may not charge this balance. And so in this example here, we're saying they cannot charge that balance. It's discounted, and that's it. So the provider can only charge $32,000. But if we went out of network, the pricing works a little bit different. We still have the $45,000, and the allowed amount is still $32,000. However, in this case, that allowed amount only applies to the member. The health insurance plan cannot impose their allowed price on the provider. And so what happens is there's no discount being offered to the member. In this case, it was $13,000. In this case, it's nothing. And the balance, therefore, is $13,000. So what does that actually mean? It means this. We come now to the member payment portion of the benefit, and we say, okay, well, how does it work? In the example we used, we said that the member had a deductible, and that deductible was $500. So in the in-network example, the member pays $500 towards their deductible. And then they've got co-insurance. And to figure out how that works is you come in and you say, okay, well, the physician was only allowed to charge $32,000. And the member now paid $500, so there's $31,500 remaining, and the member has a co-insurance rate of 20%. So if you look at that, it's $6,300, but in addition to that, the member has an out-of-pocket maximum that we stated in the previous example of $6,300. So I can show you that here. We used in the benefit design, we said they've got a $500 deductible, 80/20 coinsurance, up to $5,500, which is a combination of money spent on coinsurance and deductible. So what that means here is that the coinsurance is at not 6,300. It's actually capped at 5,000. 5,000 because 500 is in the deductible, which means that the member's total cost for this service in network is $5,500. And that's pretty straightforward. But what happens if the member went out of network? Well, again, going back to the previous example, we said, well, if they have an out-of-network benefit, the deductible is $1,000, the coinsurance is $60.40, and the out-of-pocket maximum is $11,000. But the other thing we said was that because the insurance company negotiated its pricing, those benefits are only payable against the $32,000 that was negotiated, and then there is that balance that has to be carried over. And in fact, I'm going to clean that up a little bit and account for that here as well. And so we say, okay, what's the member's total? Do they pay the balance? They don't pay the balance because that was written off by the provider. So they pay 0, and then we say their total. Over here is the 5,500. So, and I'm going to scoot this over so you can see it. So out of network, and this is where things really kind of get significant here in understanding the contrast between out of network and in-network benefits. So we've got a $1,000 deductible. Then we've got coinsurance, and I'm going to pull the calculator up here again. But we're basing it off of the price of the negotiated service. So we say it's $32,000 minus the $1,000, and I know we can do this math in our head, but I like to illustrate it. So you've got $31,000 in balance remaining, and the member has to pay that at 40%, which is $12,400. Now we said that the member had an out-of-pocket maximum of $10,000, so or of $11,000, which includes the deductible. So that means it's $10,000 for coinsurance. And then the key difference is right here is now that on the balance, the member also has to pay that. Because remember, the health insurance company doesn't pay the balance bill. It only pays its benefits against the $32,000, and the provider can charge the member the difference. So we come down here, and now we create a total, and that total is the $1,000 plus the $10,000, which is $11,000, plus $13,000 is $24,000. So what's the point here of illustrating this? It's this. This is probably a point where it's good to express a little opinion. Personally, I'm not a big advocate for out-of-network benefits. I understand that they can provide some value, but you can look here and see the situation. First off, you've lost all insurance protection when you've gone out of network because this balance bill is a variable amount. Whatever the provider charges as retail price is selected by the provider, and there's no protection against that above the negotiated price offered by the insurance company. So for any amount greater than the negotiated pricing by the insurance company, in network or out of network, you're uninsured above those costs. If you go in network, the provider cannot charge those additional costs to you. If you go out of network, the medical provider can charge those costs, and they do. And so you can look here as we just do the simple math on this scenario. In-network benefits, you got the predictable out-of-pocket expense, $5,500. Your out-of-network benefits, you were $24,000. I mean, a $19,000 difference for the same procedure. So if there's one message here, it's stay in network. Whenever possible, stay in network. I look at your out-of-network benefits, kind of a weird example here, but I remember being in Boy Scouts and doing the swimming merit badge. And one of the things we had to do for the swimming merit badge was, you have to sit in the pool and you have to sit in deep water for a period of time. I don't remember. It seems like it was 2 minutes. And they made you jump in the water with all your clothes on. And you had to take your pants off, tie them into a knot, and then fill them up with air by blowing into it, and then use that as sort of a makeshift life preserver. So why do I tell that story? That's sort of how I see the out-of-network benefits. Sure, if you needed the extra protection and that's all you had, then that's better than nothing. But that's definitely not how you'd plan to float if you knew you were going to be sitting in the water for a while. Furthermore, if you had been sitting in the water and were struggling to stay afloat, and a lifeboat showed up and threw you a pair of pants, I don't think you'd be very grateful or very pleased with that solution. Uh, Whenever you see the 60 Minutes specials on TV that talk about, you know, hey, consumer Bob had this health insurance policy and he had an out-of-pocket maximum of $5,500, and yet he's got 50,000, $60,000 in medical bills. How does that work? And the short answer is always the same thing. It's the out-of-network benefit that's the culprit in driving those very, very high costs. So whenever possible, the one takeaway from this illustration and all of this is that your out-of-network benefits can be very deceiving, can be very unclear financially, and can subject you to some very, very high costs. In-network benefits tend to function as they should with most health insurance companies. I wouldn't over scrutinize their payment strategy or the effectiveness of how well they pay when you're going in network. But out of network benefits, they're dangerous. That's my opinion. Thanks.